China, one of the most powerful countries on Earth, is world-renowned for their booming economy and growing technology sector. With strong growth even through the pandemic, or so they say, China seems to not want to slow down, and that they will never slow down. Which is why, over the past decade, they've slowly been creeping their way into every company you know and love that is supposed to be friendly and kind to all, just like China is. Right?
我叫穆罕默，
你是哪国人？
我是中国人。
This video appears to show hundreds of Uyghur men, their heads freshly shaved, during a mass transfer at a train station.
What many people don't know is that in 2019, Roblox partnered with Chinese mega corporation Tencent, who owns majority stake and minority stake in many companies that you use regularly, such as Spotify, Tesla, Snapchat, the company that owns PUBG, and obviously, after this announcement, Roblox. Although they don't own a majority stake in Roblox, they have plenty of sway in the company. And what many others don't know is that every corporation in China, or that deals with China, must have a wing of that company to deal with the Communist Party of China, regardless if they are actually fully stationed in China, which means that even some of the most quote-unquote American companies in the United States, such as Boeing, have a part of their corporation that deals solely with the Chinese Communist Party to make sure that they can still do business in China. And Roblox is likely no exception. Although it is not 100% confirmed, it can be assumed with reasonable probability that a 2020 leaked database detailing members of the Chinese Communist Party in various American companies show that, for example, Boeing has 17 branches with 252 Chinese Communist Party members spread throughout the company in China, which goes to show how deep China has infiltrated even what some consider some of, like I said, the most American companies in the United States. And because of this, it can be assumed with reasonable degree of certainty that Roblox also has branches that deal with the Chinese Communist Party, as well as having Chinese Communist Party members working within the company to ensure that they don't cross any boundaries with the Communist Party. I'll link a video from China Uncensored detailing the actual database leak from 2020. So, in this video, I'm going to go over some of China's hidden policies for Chinese Roblox players, as well as Luobu, which by far is one of the most challenging platforms to get into unless you have a connection. Trust me, this is going to be a bit of a rabbit hole. So if you want to see more content like this, be sure to let me know down below and like the video so more people see it, because I think this is something that not a lot of people know about Roblox, and it should get out there. In November of 2019, while I was snooping around the files of a game through mysterious and magical means, I discovered something that I'd never seen anyone post about before. Inside of the game, Ski Resort, there was a module script in there that said China Policy Service. Now, I really had no idea what this meant, but I knew it was something freaky. So I asked about it on the world's scariest Roblox hacker forum to see what people had to say, and this guy said that he was able to find within the core scripts of the game a line that said, boycott bad games, refuse pirated games, be aware of self-defense and being deceived. Playing games is good for your brain, but too much play can harm your health. Manage your time well and enjoy a healthy lifestyle. Now, although a lot of people are very aware of Roblox's shady deals with China, for the past 4 or so years, I've been doing heavy research on China out of my own kind of desire to learn about the government of China and how the people are. And what a lot of people will say is, oh, this is just China trying to protect people from being dissidents. When in reality, Chinese government is always about saving face. It's been that way for a long time, and there's nothing wrong with it inherently. However, There is an entire part of the government in China that just preserves the face of the Communist Party, and this is part of keeping that face, where instead of being like, oh, play whatever you want, you can do whatever you want, it's about, we need to look good in the eyes of the international community, that our people are able to restrain themselves from indulging too much in video games because we are a stronger society. I'm gonna hop into the ski resort game and see if I can find anything interesting. So here we are in a ski resort, and what's this? What's this, huh? Whoa, it's the entire game. Oh my gosh, what's going on? That's weird. Anyways, if we scroll down to replicated storage, you can still see here, 2 years later, China Policy Service and this disabled group chat enforced thing in here. So back when I made that original post, you couldn't decompile scripts like this, but now you can. And if I take a look in here, we might be able to find something interesting. You can see here, game get service policy service. We'll look into this a little bit later, but you can clearly see that there's stuff talking about group checks and other things like that. Likely because groups are not allowed in Luobu. And you can see here under core GUI, more things about set is subject to China policies and is subject to China policies. Likely for the potentiality of being able to ban certain items from the store if China doesn't deem it allowed. Let's see if we can find anything interesting in here. Nothing crazy, but you can see here that still weird things going on in this game. For those of you who don't know, Luobu was shut down to a degree in December of 2021. However, they are expected to reopen it at some point, likely with more restrictions on players, and also with a wider selection of games to prevent them from desiring to go over to the international version of Roblox, at least for China. But looking into the Roblox policy service on the wiki, we can see all kinds of properties such as is Luobu server and Luobu whitelisted. That likely means if your game is not Luobu whitelisted, that it will not show up obviously in Luobu and that this service can't be accessed. And in an incredibly dystopian turn of events, you can see one of the functions you can call is get policy info for player async, with the instance being the player. And it returns policy information about a player which is based on geolocation, age group, and platform. Meaning that based on the way that this entire function is made, that you are able, as a developer, to access private information about individual users. If you didn't know, cheating in China or hacking in China is actually illegal. Like, Chinese people can see time in prison for cheating or exploiting in games. Roblox's China guidelines are notorious for at least seeming completely and utterly asinine, banning things like skeletons, dying, allusions to religion, and other things. The main reason why I wanted to make this section is to point out why these seemingly pointless restrictions actually do have a point. For this, I'm going to be looking at Ruben Sim's video that he did on this earlier in October or so, and kind of explaining bit by bit what the purpose is of all of these weird restrictions.
No content that shows bloody open wounds or injuries. No body parts flying apart or burning.
The main reason behind almost all of these strange restrictions is to completely and utterly destroy the possibility for anyone to potentially create experiences or games that can either subtly or directly discredit or deface, quote-unquote, the Chinese Communist Party. If you're allowed to show body parts, dying, any allusion to the idea of death, you can convey the idea that China is killing people, that China is harvesting organs, etc., etc. They are covering every possible in for dissidents to ensure that nobody can remotely express any negative views about China.
No horror or scary content. No content propagating superstitions.
A lot of this talk about superstition is really a nice way to say religion and other ideas that subvert the officially state-sponsored atheist position that China's in. Although China is far from atheist, the state pretends that they are actually atheists to uphold the veil of communism that they claim they still have.
No content that shows or references a Chinese territory being invaded. No content which includes names, events, images, likeness, or comments relating to a Chinese past or current national leader.
If you know anything about China, these ones are obvious. They're just trying to prevent as much as possible any form of dissidence or hatred towards the Communist Party. Although the Chinese people should have the right to express their distaste for the Communist Party which many of them do actually hold, they will not be given any chance by Luobu in fear that the Communist Party will revoke Roblox's access to the Chinese market. If you've ever tried getting into the Chinese side of the internet, you know how difficult it is. You have to either create a WeChat or a QQ account, which requires you to go to extreme lengths, like either living in China or knowing someone in China who can get you a friend code that they can only give out once a month or once every few months, that they can only give out a certain amount of, and then you have to go through a bunch more verification before you can even access a WeChat account, which will allow you to potentially access things like Luobu and Chinese Discord. For a company whose mission is to bring the world together through play, I find it a bit odd that Roblox immediately bent to the Communist Party's demands that there is to be a separate Roblox platform and that Roblox users are not allowed to interact with Luobu users. In the early cycle of Luobu's release, users were, for a time, allowed to actually log into Luobu and create accounts on there regardless of them being in China. However, on July 22nd, 2021, Roblox blocked all non-China IPs from logging into Luobu or Luobu QQ Studio. It was really difficult to actually get into the Chinese development forum, as using Google Translate to actually look at what was going on, it wouldn't even let me. I had to go to bootleg Yandex to figure out what's going on. And if you take a look here, I guess these are the top most popular games in the past 12 months being given rewards, or the 12th month in a row that they've been doing this kind of showcasing of popular games. And you can see all kinds of weird games here, like Livetopia. Other Chinese names are probably translated to something. Climb 666 Stairs. Google, which is banned in China. I don't know how that works. City Combat. Some Battle Royale. Tower Obby. Lots of weird stuff in here. WoW Run. I don't know what these games are, but I assume that these are top performing games for this month. AKA the past month of December for Luobu. Obviously, because afterwards it was, taken down. It really sucks that this plastic curtain has descended over Roblox. In the few times I've actually played with Chinese people in any game, they are some of the nicest people I've ever met. Disregarding the racist ones in Counter-Strike, the vast majority of Chinese netizens are extremely kind and friendly individuals. And the fact that Roblox is just letting themselves get bullied by the Communist Party of China shows that their statement that they are uniting the world through play is just complete bullshit. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say, so...
忽然那个外人，他很愚蠢，弄到鬼有党。